Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. And this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic Dl Svb80 in a 32D finish. This is a grade 1 knob lock from Transatlantic in an 80 function, which is also known as a storeroom function. Here's the genuine article. It's going to have a ball style knob. This lock set is a grade 2 lock set. That means that this is rated for 500,000 cycles, which is excellent, especially when considering the cost of the lock. Very nice spring action. You just hear how that comes back to center. So being an 80 function, that means it's a storeroom, and that means that it's always locked on the outside, and you always need a key to get in. And this will come packaged with 2 Schlage C keyway 6-pin look-alike keys. Always locked on the outside, always unlocked on the inside. The Dl Svb series is a cylindrical knob that's designed for use on all standard grade 2 light commercial or standard duty commercial applications. We would call it standard duty commercial or heavy duty residential. Solid zinc die cast construction. Storeroom function. Outside knob is always locked. Key unlatches, retracts the latch bolt, only the outside knob never turns. Certified grade 2. This will work for doors from 1 3/4 to 2 inch thick. Latch bolt, and there's a bunch of parts that are included. We're going to go over it one by one here. Okay. Now, the first piece that we have to be sure of is, here it is, the latch bolt. This is going to be a grade 2 deadlocking latch bolt. You can see that this deadlocking latch bolt has the deadlocking trigger on it, so that when that is depressed and held in with a proper installation of a latch bolt, strike plate, you cannot depress this portion of it. That's the deadlocking feature in action. This is 2 1/4 tall. This is 1 1/8 wide, and that's going to be typical for hollow metal doors and wood doors that are prepped for this. 6-pin Schlage C keyway, as we discussed earlier, nickel plated. Oh, the latch bolt has a projection of 1/2 inch. That's important to know, especially on an 80 function, because it's possible that you're going to use this storeroom lock with an electric strike, and knowing the projection of the latch bolt is important. This is 1/2 inch. This is rated for 3-hour applications. This is going to fit into a 2 1/8 inch diameter hole, which we'll get into in a moment. This is going to include a 4 7/8 strike. This is what's called an ANSI strike, or just 4 7/8, and that's going to be typical for a hollow metal frame. You'll see it occasionally in wood frames as well, but sometimes when someone's using this, they're repairing a frame. The overall width of this strike is 1 7/8, but how these are classified is from the center line of the screw hole to the edge of the lip, and it's generally about 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/8. Okay. You are going to get a package of screws that you'll need. There's not many screws you're going to need at all. There's those 2 long ones that will hold the lock together. There are the 2 for the strike plate here and here, which are a combination thread that will allow it to go into both a metal door or a metal frame or a wood frame. Okay. Half wood thread, half machine thread, that allow that strike to get installed to a wood frame or a metal frame. The other screws you're going to get will be this one here, which are combination thread as well, and that one there, that's just for the latch bolt. Combination thread again, into the edge of a wood door, into the edge of a metal door. Very simple. The final 2 bolts, and there's only 6, are those long machine bolts, and that's going to be so that you can hold the lock together. Now, the final part that's in the box is a tool. That's what you're getting. Now, to conclude the overview part of this video, I'm going to say that this is an excellent lock when you consider what the cost is. I would not hesitate to use a grade 2 cylindrical knob or lever from Transatlantic. We have been selling them for years and years. None practically no issues with these ever. The only issue would be rekeying them. I don't enjoy rekeying them as much as I do locks that cost several times the amount. But as an aside, that would be the only thing I could mention about that. When it comes to transatlantic lock sets, door closers, exit devices, and their hinges, they present to the typical subcontractor, someone who's doing a door package or an interior commercial package where there's acoustical work being done, drywall and studs being done, doors and hardware. Transatlantic is a great option. We've got clients here in Chicago who know it as TACO, Transatlantic Company, and they come to just request it by name. Okay, it's the kind of reputation that these locks have built. Don't hesitate to use them. I think you'll be quite pleased with the quality. Now, the rest of this video, how do you take it apart? Let's go over that. If you don't want to, if you're not concerned with taking it apart, you're done. That special tool is here, and that's going to allow you to be able to do everything practically that is necessary. So first of all, you've got this end here, and then you've got this end here. Let's work on this end here. There's a hole down in the stem, and inside of there is a spring-loaded tab. You're going to use that and carefully control the lock in your hand. Push your tool into there, and you'll be able to pop that knob off. Comes off quite simply. There's only a slot in one portion of the entire knob, and that is for that spring-loaded tab that is down here at the tip of my finger and evidenced in here. Okay. At that point, you'll be able to unthread the rosette. That will come off. It's just threaded. The mounting plate will come off next. At that point, you're done. You're going to have a couple of prongs that are here, and that is, if it's a metal door, your metal door will probably have two very small semicircles at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. These prongs are going to sit in that area. If it's a wood door, they're literally going to bite into the face of the wood door, and that is to aid from preventing the entire chassis from spinning. You know, with time, people rotating the knob, it has, you know, this is exaggerated, but it puts that kind of force on it where you're turning it constantly. Those prongs will help keep the chassis straight. Now, you've got the inside of the lock off. Installation is easy. The latch bolt goes into the edge of the door, and it just simply mates, just like that. Probably going to need to depress that in a little bit. Okay, then you can test it, make sure that it works. Rotating the inside shows that it works perfectly. Okay, that's your installation. Now, the final thing to go over is how to reverse the hand of the lock. So, here's what I mean. Right now, the latch bolt is oriented this way. The keys in this instance, the cuts of the key are pointed towards the top, or pointed up. It's okay that you have the lock where it would be pointed down. It's just, it's actually not recommended, is the bottom line. Because of the construction of the cylinder, they want the driver pins below the springs, and those springs will push those driver pins. And when it's upside down, I'm not sure of the exact circumstances, but I think what happens over time with gravity working against those springs, which are quite small and thin, you're better off having the key in this orientation. Now, right now, this lock could be either a let's see here now, a right-hand reverse lock. It would work. Or you could take the latch bolt and flip it over and make it work as a right hand. Okay? What if you have the opposite hand? Well, it's not difficult to reverse the hand of this lock. Keep in mind that this is pointed towards you, and the keys are going to be pointed up. We're going to make it so that it's reversed. First step is to take note of, there's a hole there, and the same spring-loaded tab concept that exists on the inside also exists on the outside. Except the difference is that to get the tab to depress, you have to have the key inserted into the cylinder and then turned 90 degrees, and I'll show you why that's required in a moment. Control it with the one hand, turn and hold it turned, and I've just got my finger keeping it turned. That same end of the tool, get it into that hole, and depress it, and at the same time you're using these fingers to push up, and indeed, it'll come off. Now, you see that horizontal slot, and you see that flat tail piece? Well, that flat tail piece will nest into that horizontal slot that you see in there. The spring-loaded tab, I can depress that right now. But if you use your imagination and you think about that tail piece occupying that space, you can't push the tab in because the tab is connected to that yoke. And when the tail piece is in there, it can't go in. But when you rotate the tail piece 90 degrees, it then has enough room to move far enough in to allow you to pull the knob off. That's the bottom line. Now, we had this pointed your way with the teeth up. Okay, so it was in essence like this. And all I'm going to do is take this chassis, I'm just going to turn it 180 degrees the other way. I'm going to take this operation, I'm going to get it fit back in there. And I've got the key sticking out a little bit so that I can use it as a handle, just to make sure that the knob goes down. It's going to stop. When that collar hits the tab that's there, it won't go any further. That's when you have to push the key in, again, turn it 180 degrees, or pardon me, 90 degrees, and hold it turned so that the tail piece is open. Take your tool, push it in, and then push it right back down. You're going to want to make sure that you test this. Literally, grab the knob and try to pull it off. There was a job site that I went to a couple of years ago. It was a Friday afternoon. Traffic was mad. Keyed 20 locks. The 20th lock. Client calls me 20 minutes later after I was several miles away in Friday traffic and said, "Hey, Rich, the entire knob came off in my hand." Always test it to make sure it's locked on, because it can give you, especially if you're in a hurry, or if you've not done it a lot before, it can give you an indication that it's locked when it really isn't. Test the lock. Now you're going to notice now that this is pointed towards you. The knob's on the opposite side. Now the key is up. That's all. Installation, that plate's going to come down. You've got two tapped holes at 12 and 6. That's where those two long bolts are going to go. Then your threaded rosette's going to come down. Be careful not to cross thread anything. Just be real careful. This is also threaded, and that is what allows you to account for different door thicknesses. The other side of the tool is what's called a spanner wrench. There's a little hole right there that will allow you to turn the rosette to get it nice and tight, because you can't get that tight enough by hand. And then after that, you're in good shape. You're going to take this knob, where that slot is there, you're going to line it up with where you know the spring-loaded tab is. That'll probably just slam on, and if it doesn't, use your tool to depress the tab and push the knob on. Test that as well, make sure it's locked down there. At that point, we've covered everything that we can on this lock, except to say that this is a grade 2 knob from Transatlantic. They have the 53 function, which is a push-turn button. They have all the privacy passage functions, dummies, knobs, and levers, grade 1, grade 2. Excellent quality locks, as I had said earlier, that if you're still with me in the video, you've already heard it. I'm partial to Transatlantic, and it's just because they focus on what they do, and they do it very well. It's the sort of material that your client will be happy to have because it saved them a dime, and it works very well. You, as the contractor, you'll be able to make a dime and have something that you can stand behind. The distributor makes a dime and is able to push product to the client that he can be competitive with and that he can stand behind, etc. If you have any questions on the Transatlantic Dl Svb80 Us32D stainless steel storeroom function, grade 2 cylindrical knob lock, or any other Transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.